WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Scott Martin. We usually think of homelessness as an adult problem, but the growing number of homeless children in the state is raising concerns. Our Quentin Smith speaks with a local organization that's working to put an end to this cycle. He joins us live in the studio with more.
Yeah, Scott, it's a big problem that many people don't tend to think about. Being homeless doesn't always mean living outside or under a bridge. It's also not having a stable home. And here in the Magnolia State, kids growing up in an unstable home is something that's becoming all too familiar. For most kids, they enjoy the simple things in life, such as playing outside with their friends and just having fun. But that's not always the reality for some kids in Mississippi.
Resources is a big part of it. Not all families have the same resources as other ones. You know, there's kids that grow up in broken homes where their parents might be in jail, you know, parents on drugs, running the streets. It really could be a variety of issues. As the outreach coordinator at Sally Kate Winters, Abigail Strickland all too often sees kids who are victims of homelessness. For the 2015-2016 school year, there were over 9,000 kids that were considered homeless in Mississippi. And being homeless would be basically couch surfing, just basically don't have a stable home. Strickland says it's about more than statistics. Many of these kids deal with long-term effects. It sets them up for problems later in life. That's why Strickland says they're working hard to put an end to this cycle. We offer a 21-day service for youth that are runaway or homeless from home, and they can stay with us for up to 21 days. We get them enrolled in school, you know, provide mental health services, anything you can think of. Within the past month, the organization has reached thousands of kids, helping them with transitional living and getting back to their normal lives. It's important for us because we want kids to know that there are resources for them available. Part of our Runaway and Homeless Youth Program is Safe Place. That is a place that you can go to get help. So if you're a youth, you know, in a situation where you might be in trouble, you might be homeless, you might have run away from home, any of those circumstances, you can go to a safe place, you can get the help that you need. So really for us, it's all about like community education and prevention and, you know, getting ahead of the problem before it becomes a problem. November is known as National Runaway Prevention Month, and during the month, Sally Kate Winters has reached out to over 3,000 kids here in the Golden Triangle. Scott?
Pontotoc residents go to the polls December 19th to decide whether to fund an $11.75 million bond issue for school improvements. Well, tonight residents attended a public hearing to get the details of that plan. Superintendent Dr. Michelle Bevins says the money will cover infrastructure improvements at all of the district's campuses. She says it's about improving the education process for the children.
Because we believe that our students deserve the best of everything, and they give us their best every day, and we're just asking to be able to do that for them too.
Bevins says if passed, the measure would cost property owners an average between $150 and $300 a year. A ruling by the Attorney General could lead to an empty seat on the Aberdeen Board of Aldermen. You may remember earlier this month, aldermen voted to suspend Cloyd Garth Jr.'s pay after learning he's the new interim superintendent of schools in Hazelhurst. The ruling says there's a conflict since you can't hold a legislative and executive branch position of government even if they're in different jurisdictions. Garth has indicated that he has no intentions of resigning from the board. Time now to get a first look at our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Good evening, Keith.
Well, good evening, Scott. It is 10:04. We have some dry conditions out there. A little bit of fog in parts of West Alabama. Some drier air trying to win out, though. And even a few isolated showers now beginning to migrate east of our coverage area. Some additional clouds back to the west. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds as we go throughout the next couple of days, but the low clouds, the fog just off to our southeast, and that is likely where most of that will be later on tonight. But do be aware if you're traveling southeast of the Golden Triangle area tonight, there could be some areas of fog. Right now, we are in the 50s. Tomorrow, we'll develop some sunshine, get back into the mid-60s as we close out the work week. Your full forecast is coming up.
Well, Mississippi State University joins an elite group. It is one of only 5 universities that can boast a presidential library. The Ulysses S. Grant Presidential Library opened today. WCBI's Parker King was one of the first to tour the collection. He has more from MSU.
The applause is well-deserved, as people can now tour the Ulysses S. Grant Presidential Library. Those attending ranged from university alumni to the nation's top librarian, and the reaction is all the same.
These 2 exhibits and really monuments to 2 great men who worked together, knew each other, and were part of American history represent something that this university can be so proud of.
The archivist for the United States, David Ferrario, toured the first library 5 years ago. Coming back to a new 21,000 square foot expansion has him in awe.
Visiting today is an opportunity to really appreciate the jaw-dropping job that they've done to create this wonderful facility.
In the opening ceremony, Dr. Mark Keenum talked about the original confusion in bringing Grant's library to a southern state. Keenum's response to the questions was that no state helped bolster Grant's credibility as a general more than Mississippi. His strategy in the Vicksburg campaign led to his promotion in the Army, which propelled his political career.
To have this representation here in Mississippi that brings together so many of the elements, I think will keep the dialogue going, and it's an important part of what we can do in the future.
The exhibit is complete with interactive touchscreens, first edition memoirs and books, and audio biographies narrated by Mississippi native James Earl Jones. Well, over 150 years have passed since the bloody American Civil War, yet the subject is still a popular one. Leading up to the opening of the Grant Presidential Library, MSU hosted its inaugural lecture series on Abraham Lincoln and Civil War studies. Guest speaker Harold Holzer explains the reason for the consistent popularity of the war is because our nation is still seen somewhat as a house divided.
I think we understand it best if we look at the period of most intense separation and tension and bloodshed. We've come a long way, maybe not long enough or not far enough, and that's why this period still holds such fascination.
The lecture series was held at the Old Main Academic Center.
All right, temperatures right now into the 50s, and it's mild out there, you know that, but can you believe next week we may actually have highs only in the 40s? Your full forecast is next.
First Alert Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
So nice to see you on this Thursday evening, 10:10, a live look in downtown Tupelo. We have some of the Christmas decorations up. It is a pretty nice evening across the region, very mild. Widespread 50s around here, even some low and mid 60s down to the southeast towards southern Alabama. Drier air, though, trying to win on in. The dew point values are lowering, and that will allow some cooler temperatures later on tonight, so we should get back into the 40s. The rain showers have really moved away, although we had a few stragglers here this evening. Those too will be going away. Dense fog from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa, the Meridian and southeast, right along I-20, 59 and south, but that drier air is winning out in our area. So southeast of Columbus, we may have a few issues here going during the night, but for our area, we should be okay, but there's a dense fog advisory just off towards southeast. Mid to low 40s as we get into the overnight hours later on tonight. So we should start off our Friday in the 40s, a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, 62 at noon, 65 by mid-afternoon. If you're going to the high school football championship games tomorrow, day number 1 in Oxford, things are looking great with a mix of sun and clouds and comfortable temperatures around 63 tomorrow in Oxford, 65 in Starkville, and Tupelo 68 maybe in Macon. A little bit cooler up towards Nashville, 59, down closer to the coast, right around 70 or 71, maybe 75 there in Tallahassee, Florida. So that is our Friday. You know it's been really dry around here. Moderate drought conditions continue in our area, even worse conditions as far as the drought back to the west. Now we do have the potential for maybe 1 to 2+ inches of rain. The best shot we've had in a while with a cold front early next week, sometime Monday night through Wednesday. Now, winter is about ready to start. Meteorological winter starts tomorrow, December 1st. That is December, January, and February. Astronomical winter officially starts December 21st. So we are about ready to switch over to a new month. It should start to get cold, right? Well, it will. Right now, the jet stream is basically from west to east. This zone of flow, mild conditions usually develop when that is in place. But look at this. That digging jet stream next week is going to allow some Canadian air to move on down into the eastern part of the country, and that will infiltrate the deep south here. After that cold front blows through early next week, so we'll see some rain with the front, and then the cold air will come in behind the front next week. Out ahead of it, though, fairly quiet for this weekend. You may want to get out there and put up some of those holiday decorations with it being so nice and warm, but there's the front late Monday, and that will be blowing on through here sometime Monday night, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It's still a bit iffy exactly when that will come on through, Tuesday or Wednesday. That's what we're advertising right now. Out ahead of it, 60s and 70s behind it. 50s and perhaps only 40s for highs next Thursday.
3 months ago today, an EF2 tornado carved a 30-mile path through Pickens and Fayette counties, Alabama. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey visited Palmetto today and spoke with one woman who was inside a tornado shelter when the storm struck. Jacob.
Scott, Catherine Thomas was huddled inside the Palmetto Community Storm Shelter as the tornado took direct aim at them. Now take a look at these videos which show what it was like as the storm moved through town.
Send somebody up County Road 3 or 49. Stay behind it. It looks like it's headed that way.
Deputy Gann makes a call for more help as the tornado moves directly through Palmetto. At the same time, just a mile away, Catherine Thomas and 50 others were huddled inside the Palmetto Community Storm Shelter.
It was a real eerie feeling. I mean, it was just quiet, and you weren't quite sure that anything was going to happen until we saw the tornado forming and like the debris picking up in it. And then there was people still trying to like get in the shelter, like they were pulling in.
Catherine caught this video inside the storm shelter as the tornado approached. You can hear people screaming in terror as the tornado passes overhead.
I was just shaking. It's just very loud. And then it was very quiet also in the same sense. I was very in shock of the moment too. So it's hard to understand exactly what happened.
As the tornado passed and they emerged from the shelter, the damage was everywhere. The tornado was continuing to plow towards Fayette. The storm shelter like this one here in Palmetto saved lives as people sheltered from the storm. Storm shelters are one of 3 key elements to keeping a severe weather safety plan, according to Pickens County EMA Director Ken Gibson.
What safe place are they going when there's a tornado warning? The second thing, of course, is making sure that they have some type of app or some type of place in which their phone, whether it's a phone line or cell phone, whatever, to make sure they're in the program so that they can be called when there is a warning. The third thing, again, is making sure they have that place that they want to go to.
Now, with severe weather season happening now and starting soon, our team of meteorologists has been working hard to get you safe and prepared. We've held weather radio programming events and we visited many local schools. We've also developed a new resource to help you develop your personal severe weather safety plan. You can go to our website, wcbi.com/safety. There we've compiled a list of information that will be vital in keeping your family safe, as well a list of storm shelters as we continue to bring you the first alert. Scott?
An area city flips the switch on a holiday favorite. We'll check in a little later in the show. Some new mothers may question whether or not to breastfeed. Tonight we learn why it may be an important factor in our Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I'm Susan Spencer, Director of Women's Services at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. Tonight we will discuss Baptist's journey to baby-friendly designation and the how and why of exclusive breastfeeding. 2 of the important factors that influence success in breastfeeding are breast milk only and only at the breast. Here's why. Babies are made to breastfeed. Their stomach capacity is about the size of a small grape. That's all they need at one feeding. They are also built for slow flow at first and will become easily confused with the gush of milk received from an artificial nipple. Their mouths also conform differently to a pacifier and artificial bottle nipple than to a mother's nipple. This can be very confusing to some newborns and cause great stress to mothers who want to get breastfeeding off to a good start. The flip side of the equation is the woman's body only makes more of what is used. If the infant is fed formula, he or she will not want to feed as frequently, and that will lead to a decreased milk supply. Another way to say this is the way to make plenty of milk is to keep using what is made. Additionally, formula can interfere with the infant's immune system, which is a primary reason many women want to breastfeed. The staff at Baptist Hospital are specially trained to ensure that your infant is feeding well and off to a healthy start. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
Coming up, we have more on the arrival of Joe Moorhead, plus the last state title preview and MSU hoops. Highlights next in sports.
Sports with Robbie Donahoe.
Well, the wait will be over. The Committee on Infractions will issue their ruling against Ole Miss, and the investigation provided by the NCAA coming up tomorrow morning. 8:30 a.m. is when they send the ruling to Ole Miss, and we'll get the public official ruling later after that. So we'll stay tuned and see what comes down from the NCAA against the University of Mississippi. Well, Athletic Director John Cohen was adamant from the beginning he wanted a ball coach for the Bulldogs. He got that. He may have also got a little bit more with Joe Moorhead as he was officially introduced as the Bulldog head coach in front of a couple hundred fans that were packed inside tight at the Seal Football Complex. As, again, Coach Moorhead officially introduced as MSU's head football coach. Coach Mo addressed the team before the press conference. Plenty of excitement from the MSU players, coaches, and staff as the former Penn State offensive coordinator went in depth on his beliefs of how to coach a football team and what he will expect from the Bulldogs in 2018.
The number one thing will be preparation. All right, number two will be effort. We are going to play every snap of every practice and every game harder than our opponent, and that is non-negotiable. And the last thing is execution. You can prepare well, all right, you can give as good effort as you want, but ultimately football is a game of execution and precision. We're going to be the most precise team in the country, and we're going to do it with three things: purpose, passion, and a blue-collar work ethic. In terms of philosophies, offense, defense, and special teams, I'm going to give you one word: we are going to attack. We're going to be a team that is going to not allow the other side of the ball to dictate the tempo of the game to us. We're going to dictate what we do. We're going to fight tooth and nail. We're going to scratch and claw, and we're going to make sure everybody understands that when you step on the field with the Mississippi State Bulldogs, you're in for a 15-round fight, and we're not stopping until the bell rings.
He was everywhere tonight. Just all over the place this morning, this afternoon, today. He was at the Hunt for Hoops as Bulldogs were taking on North Dakota State. It was the Tyson Carter show in this one after Nick Weatherspoon steal. Carter with the one-hand slam. Carter, you know, he's got that 23 on his jersey. He had more points than that against the North Dakota State Bison. That three right there. Bulldogs led by double digits in the first half, but we get a little distribution from Tyson, leaving it to Quindary Weatherspoon. He drops it off to Abdul Adu. Don't mind if I do. Two-hand slam. Bulldogs lead 29-24 at the half. Second half, the Carter show would continue. He finished with a career-high 35 points, 6 of 10 from three. That's the most points scored by an MSU player since '95 when Super D did it against Bama. MSU 6-0 for the first time in over a decade as the Bulldogs win 83-59. They will host Dayton coming up on Sunday at Humphrey Coliseum. Well, high school football now. Our final state title team preview from our area is the big one, the 6A game. The Starkville Yellow Jackets face their toughest test to date as they'll meet the undefeated Pearl Pirates on Friday night in Oxford. For head coach Chris Jones, it's nothing new to be playing for a state title. He did so last year at Kemper County. He wants his team this year to expect to be great and get the job done.
We've always talked about, being champions every day, just every play. So hopefully it'll carry on to the big game. We don't want to make it bigger than what it is, because if you're doing stuff the right way every day, the big things take care of themselves. So I feel confident, that my guys going to play well, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Friday. This is Starkville. This is what they do. This is what they expect. a lot of people may be surprised, you know, that we're here, but we expect to be here from day one. And, you know, we talked about it amongst the guys and, you know, begin with the end in mind, and the end is here. So I think we've done something right along the way, and hopefully we can continue to do what we need to do to be successful come Friday.
One more time, here's that state title schedule for you. Tomorrow we got Nanawa at 11, Winona at 3, Starkville at 7. Now, for those of you who are curious, My Mississippi is a cable antenna-only channel. CW you can get on DirecTV Channel 5, but not on Dish. Saturday's games. Noxubee will be at 3 p.m. on My Mississippi. West Point will be at 7 p.m. on the CW. And again, we will be in Oxford for all those state championship games. Plus, we'll be there to find out what happens with the NCAA's ruling coming down on the Ole Miss football programs. We'll be pretty busy coming up these next few days, but we'll continue to follow everything, including EMCC and the national title. That's it for sports. Last look at the forecast is next.
Big celebration this evening in Tupelo as the annual Christmas lights at Ballard Park were unveiled. It's all beginning to look a lot like Christmas down there. There was music and appearance by the Grinch. Well, this is the 26th year for the Ballard Park Christmas lights display. It'll be up through New Year's Day. Looks like a good time. But it's not cold enough for it yet, Keith.
No, good. It was great to be out there. Tomorrow's the Christmas parade in downtown Tupelo and Wassailfest in downtown Columbus. Weather will hold through Monday. Some wet weather early next week, and then much colder weather by Wednesday. So those were natural snowflakes tonight, but you know, we'll see what happens later this month of December, which actually starts in a few hours.
And cold weather is coming.
It's coming.
Chillier anyway. Thanks,
That's right.
Keith. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.